Prince recorded the biggest song of 1984, the biggest song of his career, in only 2 days.
And we did do an album in a week.
A lot of times he would take the first take.
This guy would play a 4-hour sound check often.
The amount of time that I spent in the studio with him, probably only about 5 or 10% of it was ever released.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
DIY.
DIYers, the myth, the man, the legend, one of my favorite artists of all time. I've done many stories here on this channel about Prince. There's a video here where somebody very brilliantly, shout out to Make Art Not Content is the name of the channel. Make Art Not Content. They got amazing content on the channel. They did a phenomenal breakdown that basically went through a bunch of different videos in which Prince himself and even collaborators explained the crazy work ethic that went into him having over 2,000 songs that he left behind that were never released after he passed away. Prince was a beast. Watch this video with me.
Prince was a creativity machine. He might be the most prolific musician that ever lived. And even though you may never reach even a fraction of his output in your own lifetime, here are 6 lessons that you can extract from his creative process that will give you an edge over everyone else.
Lesson number 1, work fast.
Back in those days, people didn't make albums.
And no, nigga, they ain't you speedrunners. Don't you speedrunners get too happy. You speedrunners with your nipples getting hard, don't you get too hard. That ain't the kind of work fast he talking about.
On computers. You had to rent a studio for a few $100s a day if you wanted to record music. And the studio came with an engineer. In Prince's case, God help that poor engineer.
If you did anything that slowed Prince down, you were out of there.
That's why Prince preferred working with women in the studio. They worked with zero friction. And zero friction equals speed.
He'd come in and I'd hand him the bass and he'd play the bass. And he'd put that down and then he'd either go to the keys or he'd pick up the guitar.
Susan Rogers witnessed him making a song a day for 5 years. Songs like Kiss and Sign of the Times.
He'd play all the parts, sing his lead vocals, sing his backing vocals, add the final stuff. I'd be mixing it as the song was coming together. And usually a day later, it would be done.
We could do...
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
The man made a song a day for 5 years. Now, before the excuse makers get in here and say, well, that was his full-time living, he's allowed to do that. There's a lot of your favorite rappers who are not doing the quality of music that he was creating. He wasn't out there quantity over quality. He was allowing himself to be a vehicle of creativity in which he got these ideas off and allowed them to get mixed in the process. Now, I see when I'm watching live streams of producers or artists, their own undoing, and the reason why they deal with writer's block is because there's no rhythm and flow to their work process. It's so leisure. It's so, hey, you trying to go smoke something? All right, let's stop this chorus and go smoke something. Like they break the flow. They break the opportunity for a flow state to kick in because of whatever other distractions are going on. They're on their phone. They're taking phone calls.
And we did do an album in a week.
And all he had when he came in was lyrics that he had jotted down in his hotel room.
He came in with stationery from Le Parc with the lyrics on it.
And he would emerge with a fully written, fully recorded, and fully mixed song by the end of it.
He jumped on the keyboards, guitar. It was just funky, It's like, man, how do you come up with this?
Plays all the instruments on it.
He played everything and he mixed it too.
And he mixed it
in one day.
Jesus.
Everything was basically one take.
Prince was in constant flow.
He was like a funnel. It was as if somebody was pouring these songs into him and they would just continue to come out the other end.
He raised the bar for how fast you could create a hit song.
I've spoken with some of his engineers who worked with him later in his career as well, and we all say the same thing. After Prince, you try to not feel disdain for a person who needs to take all day to do a guitar part. You're thinking, why do you have a record deal?
Damn. Hey, she need to chill. Hey, she gotta chill. She gotta chill. She ain't supposed to be talking about me this loud. There's a lot of stuff in here that we definitely should be taking notes on, but she definitely came for all of us with that one.
The other woman engineer that worked with Prince was Peggy McCreary. She did Controversy, 1999, and Purple Rain.
I mean, we did a song all in one day. Some of them were huge hits.
This brings us to
lesson number 2, become a finisher.
Peggy McGreary was right there in the room when Prince recorded the biggest song of 1984, the biggest song of his career, in only 2 days.
You know, like...
Wait a minute. Did I hear that correctly? He created the biggest song of his career in less than 2 days.
We cut When Doves Cry, just the two of us. It was nice to watch that process. He usually started with a drum track, and he did with that one, and then he started building raging guitar and the raging synths and everything. It seemed so overproduced to me. It was the last night we were mixing it. As the night went on, things started coming out. And he kind of unproduced it, if you can possibly do that. And then the last thing he did is he punched that bass out, and he smiled at me and he said, "Ain't nobody gonna believe I do this."
Hey, Prince was a bad man. Prince was a bad man who also took care of his business. Hello. This is the example. To me, this is the prime example of somebody who was able to be efficient at their business to a high level, but also he's creating the best songs of his career in less than 2 days. That is ridiculous. Now, some of these things are absolutely God-given talents, but I think there's a lot to be said here in that he's not just putting half-ass ideas. He's finishing these songs. He has engineers that he's working with. It's part of what helped him become a finisher.
And he did.
He stuck with one idea while it was burning hot until it was finished. But how do you do that? How do you develop that kind of tenacity? Well, you'll need to internalize and live by this next lesson.
Lesson number 3. Stop trying to be a perfectionist.
Do you remember they used to spend a week on a fucking snare sound? It's like, give me a...
Hey, you gotta chill.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
If I want to take 7 days for the snare, let me be Craig David. On a Monday, looking through a decap drum kit. Why is she coming for us? My boy, my ma'am, why are you coming for me like this?
Break. And I literally had 5 minutes to get a drum sound. He taught me another side. You know, that little picky, cocained out shit doesn't matter. If it's a good song, you get it down, it's a good song.
Don't overthink things. Keep it moving. In the overproduced 80s, this was unheard of.
In that era, everybody was kind of doing the sterile music where you do 20 takes of one thing, and he didn't work like that. A lot of times he would take the first take, even though there were maybe mistakes. You go, "Oh, I know I can do it better. Let me perfect it." He said, no, he wants the feeling. There was something about the first emotion that he wanted.
I love that. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I've always had the theory, some of you have heard me say this in many, many videos. Trust your first drafts. Trust your first drafts. Trust the honesty in your first draft. Trust that maybe there's something in that first draft that will never be accomplished again because there's a certain level of innocence in that first draft. I think sometimes we get so obsessed of trying to find the perfect take, and then we actually create the perfect take and we're like, it's missing something. Oh yeah, soul. Because we're so pristine that this verse now looks like grandma's furniture in that one room you was never supposed to have your black ass in that had plastic on the furniture. Yeah, the room looked good, but you can't actually do what the room is for. You know, a living room, can't live in it. But there's something here about that first draft being a moment of human error and just rawness that you cannot duplicate.
And he'd mix into it, and you go, oh.
Prince knew that leaving the mistakes in was also leaving the emotions in.
He himself could not have functioned if he'd been obsessing over every little detail. His work was gesture sketches. His music would come out like a sneeze. It was just bam, 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 bam.
I ain't never heard nobody sneeze like that.
He understood that the most important aspect of the creative process is momentum, which brings us to
lesson number 4. Make art every day.
I've never known anyone who had a stronger work ethic. If he wasn't on a date and he wasn't on a business call, he was making music. And we made music every day. I was his full-time employee, so if we were not on tour, we did rehearsals during the day, and then we recorded at night. If we were on tour, this guy would play a 4-hour sound check often. Not a 15-minute sound check like most rock stars do. He'd get on stage for 4 hours just because, you know, it's a stage and there's instruments and there's a PA, so why not just get up there and play? Play for hours, take the mandatory dinner break while they have doors, the audience comes in, and this is like in a 14,000 seat arena. play a 2.5-hour show, and then he'd get off the stage close to midnight, and now it's time for the night to begin. We would go to a recording.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm going to stop some of you before you start getting in your heads about, well, Curtis, he doesn't have to deal with the same stuff we do nowadays. There's social media. I've got to do email newsletters. He had a team. The man did 4-hour sound checks. Sound check. I don't know how many rappers have done sound checks that are in here, but I've seen sound checks before. Yeah. Hey, can you turn the front wedges up? Yeah. Testing. Okay. Hey, do one song. Yeah. I feel like, okay, I think I'm done. Perfect, man. Thank you. I'll see you tonight. Sound check over. Prince, 4-hour sound check for a 2-hour show. That's like LeBron being in the gym or like Kobe being in the gym with a 2-hour workout before a 2.5-hour game. Don't make them like that no more, fam. But there's something about making art every day. Even with the full-time job, even as parents, if you want to make this your career, you have to find a way every day. And I think there's so many iterations and versions of this. It doesn't have to be this extreme, but having like for me, writing 4 bars a day, mission accomplished. Having a book full of just rhyming words, rhyming phrases from my favorite movies and things that I see on TV all day, mission accomplished. Writing a song, writing a verse, mission accomplished. But be creative every single day. I love that idea.
Studio, and we would record all night until the last possible minute when we had to get on a plane or on a bus. You sleep on the plane, you sleep on the bus, you get to the next city, you get on stage and you start sound check all over again. That's what we did. That was normal life. If you're awake, you're making music.
That's how you have to start thinking about life if you want to be a creativity machine.
If he was awake, Prince was recording. I've never known anyone else who works like that.
You're right. I don't think there's anyone as prolific as Prince in terms of just music creation.
Yeah, he had an output like some Mozart type shit, you know?
You start to understand that using your gift as often as possible is your responsibility. Especially if you have something valuable to say.
That's when you possessed, you know what I'm saying? You possessed with a mission from the universe, you know?
But how do you do that without burning out?
Lesson number 5, sleep.
You sleep on the bus.
Yup, sleep. Prince valued sleep so much that he even had a bed put into the studio.
Did you ever see the bed in here?
Oh, yes. No, I wasn't working during that time.
But you did see it.
It was elaborate. It was like really fancy coverings. It might have been brass. I can't remember.
It was a bed with purple sheets.
Craig had to go out every Friday and get new sheets, purple sheets. It was once a week. That was his duty as a studio manager, to go get Prince the purple sheets.
Purple sheets in 1984.
But the most important lesson you can learn from Prince, something that is particular to only him in the history of rock and roll.
Lesson number 6, develop vault mentality.
Prince didn't look at his day like he was recording a song, or even like he was recording an album. Prince looked at his day like he was crafting his legacy.
Woo!
And that's why as soon as he built his own recording studio, he also built the vault.
I started the vault. One of the things I realized would be smart for me to do would be to get all his tapes together in one place. My goal was, I want us to have everything he's ever recorded right here. If we're going to have a vault, let's have a vault. Because if we get a tornado, if we get a flood, this is his legacy. We need to protect these things.
What does the vault look like?
It's just this room in the building that just has like veils and whatnot. And then there's the door with the combination lock.
But this wasn't a vault of sketches of ideas or just loops. This was a vault of fully mixed songs.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
This man had 2,000 plus songs in his vault. All of them were mixed. That makes me want to throw away everything that I have as a rough draft inside of my project file on FL Studio.
And full albums that have yet to see the light of day.
When you say the word vault, it's really a vault of treasure. I mean, it's like the Beatles stuff. This stuff is incredible on every level with all different type of artists.
You see the amount of recordings he has in his vault, it doesn't even make sense. You would think somebody's lived like 300 years and was recording 5 songs a day.
Frequently, he would have very, very excellent songs that for whatever reason didn't fit the concept he had in mind for a given album. So that song would fall to the wayside.
The amount of time that I spent in the studio with him, probably only about 5 or 10% of it was ever released.
And how many?
Hey, Prince, hey, man, I don't care. Talk about his ashless chaps all you want. He working harder and he's working better and smarter, and his business is on point. Ain't like he was a dummy on the business. He is better than your favorite rapper. Kiss his ass in the assless chaps and shut up.
Any songs are in that vault?
Ooh, when I was there, I say about 2,000 songs. He probably has more now.
Vault mentality is something I talk about in the mystery school all the time. It's the kind of mindset that keeps you thinking about the big picture. You know, the work of art called your career. Even if at first it's just a hard drive with your beats on it, or a storage space for your paintings, having vault mentality puts you in a frame of mind of being output driven.
Do you think we're ever going to get to hear everything that's in the vault?
No.
Why? Because he won't put it out?
No, because I think if you could, you would probably be you'd probably be sitting there for 10 years.
Even if you don't catch up to Prince, by adopting these 6 lessons, you can still be way more prolific than you've ever been. And you can start reaching momentum and flow with increased frequency.
I agree.
And that's what matters, isn't it?
Man, shout out to Make Art Not Content. That was one phenomenal video. Every time I watch that, I just feel like work harder, Curtis. Work harder. Not even just harder, but work smarter. And I think working smarter is having in mind. We're going to end on this note. Man, that's just a phenomenal video. This, to me, came at a very perfect time. When I say this is this video, came at a perfect time where I had the conversations that I had with Russell. I was hearing a lot of the conversations like with Nick D and hearing all these different interviews where they were kind of saying the same thing. They all kind of seem to have different plans with what they wanted to do with what I'm getting ready to share with you. But the one word that kept repeating itself was catalog, 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 catalog. And it's unfortunate that we live in a time where so much of the narrative is centered around your ability to get a song off or get singles off. Singles, which in turn is a catalog of singles, but there's such a tremendous value. And I'm seeing it now because Lord knows when I was creating all the music that I was creating for albums, I just wanted to see those albums take off. I had no idea that in 2024, I would be looking at over 12, 14 plus albums of music and saying, which one am I going to be creating content for today? I put out a song on my Instagram. I wanted to test out what a song from my catalog could do. It blew my mind because this song is over 9 years old. And many of you recognize it from being on my videos on my YouTube channel. However, as I've grown my audience on social media, there's so many people who never even heard this song. And why would they be moved to go check out an abstract project from a certain year because it's just there? It's on my Bandcamp. So I made a visual.
When I listen to you, it's a liability. Cause you be mentally killing my inner energy. So I'm concealing my feelings before you injure me. I can't listen to you. When I listen to you,
I put this song out and look at all the commentary from people who had never heard this song, who now have an opinion about a song that's been sitting on my computer, my Bandcamp, for the last 9 years. Your music may be old to you because you've done so much since, but what's new to somebody is still new to somebody. It's like your favorite TV show. One of my favorite TV shows is Breaking Bad. I would not hesitate to start from season 1 to show somebody what the wild journey that Breaking Bad is, even though it's such an old show, I guess, compared to now, it is now new to somebody else. Your music has the same capability. So what I get from that Prince video is really the necessity to focus on catalog, creating albums. People are telling you, I hate the advice some of these doofuses give. Shouldn't be worried about albums. You should be worried about singles. You shouldn't get on playlists. But your music, shut up. All these niggas giving that advice don't make music. You know what I noticed? None of these niggas make music. Catalog, catalog, catalog. Because even if you're in the business of what Nick D talks about, eventually being in a place where you want to sell your catalog off, it's going to require you to have a catalog worth selling. But so many artists are being trained to just be assembly lines of singles where they're literally just trying to find, okay, this is hot right now. Well, let me do a Playboi Carti type song. This is hot right now. Okay, Lil Uzi Vert's doing this. Oh, Nicki Minaj is, they're chasing it, and they're exerting so much energy into the quantity of singles and so little energy into the actual catalog that they can pull from. A catalog that has themes to some of these projects, a catalog that has errors, right? Prince has a different error. Every project project sounds a little bit different because he learned some new things along the way. He found some new collaborators. He was influenced by the new places that he went to. And I think that it is important for us to be catalog focused. It makes you understand you can never have a bad release. You can never fall off, because at the end of the day, what the hell is that going to do to you? Stop you? No, I'm in the catalog game. Remember the theory I gave you? I called it the Aaliyah theory because she had a song called Your Love is a 1 in a Million. Try not to faint. I know that voice is crazy. No auto-tune, no samples. I'm just playing. I have a theory that if you tell yourself this song that I'm working on right now, that I'm obsessing over, that I'm trying to make perfect, the one that I can't figure out what to do next with, I am losing sleep over it. If you tell yourself, fam, chill the fuck out. This is one song of a million songs that you will create. That is the 1 in a million theory. The Aaliyah theory is what I call it, because she made that amazing song. When I think of it like that, I think of it now as this is a part of my catalog. And when I look back 30, 40 years from now, I'm going to look back 30, 40 years, like say, in the future, I should be able to look at a catalog that I am supremely proud of. Those are my thoughts, though, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't get greedy. Peace.